stand in your backyard, a stadium, or even a huge wildlife preserve. Each of these places is a space with a boundary and has an area and a perimeter. The perimeter is the distance around the outside of a shape, the length of its boundary. The area is the amount of space within the shape. Cattle ranchers use miles of fencing along the boundary of their property to keep cattle from wandering off. The total length of the boundary is the perimeter, and within the perimeter is the area. If the pasture is a square that measures 200 yards on each side, then you would multiply 200 by the number of sides, 4. That's 4 times 200 equals 800. The perimeter is 800 yards. To find the area of any rectangle, including a square, multiply the length by the width. In this case, 200 yards times 200 yards equals 40,000 square yards. Let's look at other examples of perimeters and areas. These ranchers have built a fence around their pasture land. What's the perimeter? What's the area? Suppose the pasture measures 300 yards long and 100 yards wide. The calculation is 300 plus 100 plus 300 plus 100. And that equals 800 yards. The perimeter is 800 yards. So the rancher needs 800 yards of fence around a rectangular field that measured 300 by 100. Notice that the perimeter of the rectangular field is the same as the perimeter around a square field that is 200 by 200 yards. But the two fields differ in area. The rectangular field is 300 times 100, which equals 30,000 square yards. That's 10,000 square yards less than the area of the square field that has the same perimeter. Notice how much longer and narrower the field is, and that it has less area, but the same perimeter. The relationship of area to perimeter depends on the shape. Different shapes with the same perimeter may have different areas. Some backyards have fences. Fences can help define the property line and can help keep your pet from straying off. But how much fence is needed to completely surround your plot of land? Let's figure it out. Let's suppose your plot is 200 feet by 200 feet. Because it's a square, you can multiply to find the perimeter. 4 sides times 200 feet equals 800 feet. The perimeter of the land is 800 feet. 800 feet of fencing would be needed. Let's figure out what the area is. Multiply the length by the width. 200 feet times 200 feet. That equals 40,000 square feet. Let's try another plot of land. Same square shape, different size. This plot is 100 feet by 100 feet. Multiply the 4 sides by 100 feet. The perimeter is 400 feet, so 400 feet of fence would be needed. To get the area, multiply 100 times 100, which equals 10,000 square feet. Let's compare the perimeters and areas of the two plots. Both plots are squares. The perimeter of the second, smaller plot is 400 feet, half the 800 feet that was the perimeter of the first plot. But the area is a different story. The smaller second plot has an area of 10,000 square feet, only a quarter of the 40,000 square feet that was the area of the first plot. In other words, the larger plot has 4 times the area, but only twice the perimeter. So, the relationship between area and perimeter changes with the size of a figure with the same shape. Larger figures have greater areas for the perimeter, not only for squares, but also for other shapes. The Roman Coliseum is an ancient structure built nearly 2,000 years ago. This arena was used for sporting contests. Although it's not a perfect circle, let's assume so and compare the area enclosed by the Coliseum with the area of a square field with the same perimeter. First, let's find the area of the circle. The formula to find the area of a circle is A equals pi times the radius squared. Pi is approximately equal to 3.14, and r is the length of the radius. The radius of the Coliseum is about 271 feet. So, the area is equal to pi times the radius squared, which is equal to about 3.14 times 271 times 271, or 3.14 times 73,441. The area is 230,605 square feet. Now, let's find the perimeter, which is the circumference of the circle. To find the circumference of a circle, use the formula C equals pi times d, diameter. The diameter is about 541 feet, twice the radius. C equals pi times 541 feet. That would be about 3.14 times 541. So, the circumference is about 1,700 feet. Now let's compare a square with the same perimeter of 1,700 feet. Each side of a square has a quarter of the perimeter, since there are 4 equal sides. 1,700 divided by 4 equals 425 feet. To find the area, we multiply 425 by 425. So, the area of the square equals 180,625 square feet. Let's compare. The square with the same perimeter has less area than the circle. The circle with the same perimeter has more area than the square. To get the same area, a square would have to have a longer perimeter than the circle. In fact, a circle is the plane figure with the greatest area for its perimeter.